What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the 10-7 MMA show. We are back after a historic weekend, a crazy weekend. I'm still exhausted. I flew back from Chicago Sunday, super early morning at like 7:20. Got back to LA. I had a crazy day yesterday. This is crazy, by the way. I had to get up at 2 a.m. because I had a bunch of work to do for today. So I've been up since 2 a.m. just grinding. Yeah, and I got to work still a lot more today. But anyways, I am back. It was all worth it. It was incredible to go back to the city where I went to law school and get to see the fight card of the year, in my opinion. And we're going to talk about the main event because I know there's a little bit of controversy. There always seems to be some controversy that Khamzat Chimaev can't escape. No matter what, no matter how good he does, it's all good. So we're going to talk about it. And me and Justin have some differing opinions. So I'm excited to hash it out with all of you guys. But I want to say, everybody, welcome back. Happy August 18th. A couple of other orders of business. Chad says, what's up, fellas? Chad's been commenting on a lot of the videos lately. What's up, Chad? Thank you so much for the support. Guys, look, check it out, baby. 10-7 MMA. Look, we got the sweaters. This actually came out really dope. So this is the first sample that I ordered, but it's available for sale already on the YouTube channel, and it's really good. I got a tank top as well, and I rocked it to the fight, but I wore it underneath a sweatsuit so nobody saw it. But I just brought it just in case for a little bit of good luck. Yeah, but yeah, we got some cool stuff going on. It's awesome. I called that Khamzat fight almost to a T. Yeah, apparently Western. He put this in one of my YouTube video comments. Apparently Western called a 5-round decision by Khamzat, which is insane. Like, who called that? That's wild. So he says, nailed it. He put up that emoji. Awesome. Congratulations. I mean, that's crazy that you actually did call that. Who the heck would have done that? But we got so much to talk about. We got to get right into the mix. Starting off at the top, not going to keep anybody waiting. Let's talk about it. Khamzat wins the belt. Now, I've been going through a lot of the statistics. I've been listening to everybody. I actually just made a video showing a bunch of reactions from a bunch of fighters and stuff like that. It's uploading now. It'll be up right after the show, so make sure to check it out. But I go through a host of different reactions and responses to the title fight, from Robert Whitaker to Ariel Helwani and so on and so forth, and just kind of seeing what people were saying at the time, what they're saying now about the fight. I obviously loved it. I thought it was incredible. I'm going to turn over to Justin, though, first. It's going to be, I know he's got a different opinion than me to some extent, but some things we agree on. Let me turn over to Justin first, and then I'll chime back in. Justin, what did you think of the title fight?
Man, well, first off, I want to talk about the whole card as a great fight. I thought there were some incredible fights on the fight. Now, getting to the title fight, it was, I mean, the only word, like, remember, and also keep in mind, I have a very high standard for exciting fights, guys. Like, I mean, a lot of people find some exciting. I don't find them exciting. I think I'm surrounded with this every single day. I watch guys fight every single day. So it really has to be something special and exceptional for me to consider it a fighting style. Now, I see a lot of guys, Demetrius Johnson, come out. Oh, if you don't like wrestling, if you don't like grappling, you're not a true MMA fan. Now, I had an analogy of this. I've been thinking about this, all day. And I think a lot of these fighters, Robert Whitaker, Demetrius Johnson, and maybe I even can persuade you in this sense of, you guys are confusing dominance with excitement. Now, when you think of, like, say, football, and I'm going to have a great comparison. If your team's playing and you're excited, it's the Super Bowl, it's man, this is the biggest game of the season, and say your team blows them out 50-0, that's incredible. But probably in the fourth quarter, I'm probably going to turn it off. They won the game. There's nothing more exciting about the game. Now, if you're a fan of defense, or in this case, if you're a fan of watching that grind, I can appreciate how great Khamzat is and how, man, he threw like 567 strikes, but out of the 529 of them were significant. Again, we're not looking for these big, exciting blows. It's like, imagine just an offense just running the ball over and over and collecting 3 yards every play. We're going to win the game eventually. We're going to keep getting first down after first down, but there's nothing exciting about it. We're not seeing that big Hail Mary pass. Now, there are people that like to watch defensive football. People like to see the defenses go back and forth, and that's fine. And that's the wrestling and grappling side to me. Like, it's like the defensive game of football, and I can appreciate it and I can respect it. And it's awesome as itself. And what he did was incredible. I had it scored 50-43, 50-44 maybe, and that's me being generous, but it was boring. That's the thing. Again, I can the excitement of, we've been ready for this fight. You've wanted Khamzat to be the champion for so long. Dominant, no question. Impressive, beyond impressive. One of the most impressive performances I've ever seen for a championship fight. Nobody wins a Super Bowl 50-40. This is the Super Bowl. These are the two best in the division. And a challenger never comes up. That'd be like the Detroit Lions beating the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl 50-0. That never happens. So impressive beyond, and hats off to be able to continue an impressive game plan. Because I tell you what, in those first 2 rounds, I thought, and I said it before, and I can stick my foot in my mouth, I have no shame. I thought DDP was going to be able to get up, and he wasn't able to, which led for the rabbit punches, 567 of them, with like 30 significant strikes. It's just, the fight was incredible. It's the most dominant one we've ever seen, but exciting is not the word I'd like to describe with it.
Okay, now let me jump in and let me give my response, and I'll tell you why. I totally get what you're saying in terms of the distinction between dominance and exciting. However, this was both for me, and I'll tell you why. And you actually took the words right out of my mouth. It's not about being a blowout. It's not about, hey, this is a blowout and we're leaving in the 4th round because it's a regular season game. This is exactly like you said. This is a Super Bowl game where basically the people that have been at the top for the longest time. Granted, like it may be on a run, but like people at the top for a long time. And what this was a blowout when most people were predicting the other team to win, where you just sit there in awe, but and be like, what the heck is happening? This is amazing. That's one part of the equation. But there's another part that's very different from football that you cannot compare with football, is that when you're down 50-0, you can't pull it out and win in the last 1 minute of a game. It's done. There's no reason to stay. Very different here. And on top of that, that's exactly what Dricus does to everybody. That's why I was on the edge of my seat. That's why Ariel Helwani was on the edge of the seat, because we were wondering if maybe Khamzat Chimaev was going to get 3 10-8 rounds, a 10-9 round, and then all of a sudden Dricus was going to flip it at the end, and he nearly did, and I was freaking out. On top of that, the 2 stand-ups from the ref, I couldn't believe it. I thought maybe like he got paid or something. I mean, I like Mark Goddard. I'm not talking smack. Like, people make mistakes, but that blew me away. So I was on the edge of my seat the entire time, because to me, I was witnessing perfection, and I was just so scared that it was going to be something for all the Khamzat detractors, the Khamzat haters, to be like, oh, see, he screwed up at the end. Oh my God. No, he sucks, man. Yeah, he couldn't hold it together. He gassed, he pulled, you know what I mean? But for him, especially since he was fighting the narrative of gassing, every round to me got more exciting. Is he still going to be able to do what he did in the 2nd round, then the 3rd round, the 4th? So there's all these factors to me that I was considering, again, as a massive Khamzat fan, favorite fighter of all time. Okay. I get that it's a little bit different for me, but I think these different components, if you really knew the full narrative, on top of that, Dricus is 9-0 in the UFC. Khamzat's 8-0. Dricus smashed everybody, all these former champs, and then Khamzat completely annihilates him. That's why it was so exciting to me. I want to give you a chance to rebut, but we got a ton of comments. So I want to read some of these out, because, this is a little bit of a celebration for me and all my fellow Khamzat fans. We got Khamzat Boris Chimaev. Maybe it's the real one. You never know. He says, let's go Khamzat 50-44. Should have been a 50-42. Khamzat, chime in if you agree with me or not. Agreed. All questions were answered. And this is why this was the best way he could win, with the dominant 50-42 win, in my opinion. Jake Furman says, did you guys notice that Chimaev won every brief striking exchange until the first unjustified ref stand-up? Yeah, you know what? I didn't even put it together that was the time when Dricus got a little on Khamzat with, very briefly, with some strikes from that crazy stand-up. We got a couple more. This was a no-hitter baseball or perfect game analogy. MGal4 Production says dominant 100%. Okay, so he's given you a little I think crap here. I think this is directed towards you. So I will hear your response to this in a second. But he says Merab throws no significant strikes ever. But of course, I think he's talking to you. You're talking a little bit of smack there. But I'll give you a chance to respond to that in 1 second. Whose fault? Why did Dricus not make it more entertaining? And I don't think Justin's blaming Khamzat, by the way. Even Dricus's coach, which is crazy to me that he would agree to this. But even he said, look, we take some of the blame for that. And I also want to talk about in a second, Dricus's great defense by keeping his chin down. Khamzat was trying to get submissions, but he was never able to get it underneath the neck because Dricus was tucking and he had practiced and worked on that defense so much. Big Ankh says Khamzat proved everyone wrong. 100%. So good. MVP was on Helwani saying he thought Khamzat. Sorry, we got a ton of comments. I'm going to give you a chance to respond. I just want to make sure people feel heard. Was being nice in the but Khamzat was being nice in the crucifix position by not using elbows. Okay, we got a bunch more. DDP has plot armor. Khamzat has 1 round of cardio. Yeah, right. How many times? Who? Everybody was saying that. Everybody was like, if it goes to round 3, I was so sick of hearing that narrative. I heard people saying it in the stadium when they were wasted. It goes to round 3, man. DDP. Jake Furman. Chimaev ripped through the plot. We'll do a couple more, and I want Justin to respond in 1 second. Big Unk. If DDP was the one wrestling Khamzat for 5 rounds, they would call him the GOAT. So true. Hey. Yo, you said it, not me. People don't get mad at me. Big Onk said it, but yeah, it is so true. Jake Furman says those ref stand-ups were absolutely coordinated. I mean, that it was insane. The stand-ups were, I don't think it was coordinated by the UFC. I think Mark Goddard succumbed to the crowd. I was there. The crowd was booing so loudly. I turned around at one point. And I was like, what are you guys booing about? Like, this is, I was so pissed. And the kid next to me, there was a kid next to me who was a huge Khamzat fan, said the same thing. Goddard did a terrible job only in those 2 stand-ups. I mean, those were big screw-ups, but only in those 2 stand-ups. So let's be cool. And then Tehran says, what's up, boys? Okay, I read through as many as I could. Now, let me turn it back to the thing about Merab, because I know Merab's your boy. You love Merab. Justin, I'll let you respond. Take it away.
It's the exact, but when have exciting and Merab ever come out of my mouth? You can't compare. I mean, you're comparing apples to apples. You're right. Exactly. Merab's not exciting. He's the greatest. He's not exciting. That's exactly like this. Khamzat, like, that's why I'm reading your guys' comments. I'm laughing because you guys are so like defensive to like jump on me and be like, oh, but this is no. I'm agreeing with what you're saying, but exciting and Merab is he's the GOAT. He's more dominant than anybody. But during the third period or third round, like I go up and I go to the bathroom, I make myself a drink. Like he's not exciting. So it's your argument doesn't make sense.
Sure. And I can, like, I guess I get it. I was so nervous the whole time. So I just was so glued to seeing what was going on. And I saw Dricus like exploding up and I was just like, what's going to happen? He's going to get more slippery. He's going to get more sweaty. Is Khamzat like that? All these thoughts are running through my mind. Is he still going to be able to hold him down when it gets into the later rounds, when you got all the sweat and all these different things that make a submission that much more difficult? So again, these are the reasons, the myriad reasons why I was just out of control. Big Onk said Khamzat proved everyone. He proved a lot of people wrong.
I mean, here's the thing, you guys. Again, you're jumping really defensive to him. I wouldn't say it's proving anybody wrong. People just wondered if he could go 4-5 in the championship rounds. Remember, he was like a minus 270 favorite. Like he's supposed to win that fight like 3 out of 4 times. Like I don't really think that he is proving anybody wrong. The only thing I'd say is people are like, oh, he doesn't have cardio. He's not going to be able to survive in the 4th and 5th because, correct me if I'm wrong. I never said he wasn't going to be able to. I said, I'd like to see if he's able to. I never said he wasn't. So you're not proving me wrong. It's just, I was curious what would happen.
Not you. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, there were, but because, people are getting on me and it's hilarious because again, I'm agreeing with most everything you're saying. But when you're almost a minus 300 favorite, that's not you're supposed to win. MVP Justin wouldn't be saying that. Okay, here's another one. I wouldn't be no, you're wrong. If Dricus took Khamzat down for 22 minutes and just laid on his back and I would say the exact same thing. Remember, I don't like DDP more than Khamzat, and I don't like Khamzat more than DDP. I like both of these guys. I think they're both awesome. I think this is like just because this is so funny because people talk about casual and stuff. Like I give my opinion, and he goes, "Oh, you're on his side or another side." No, I didn't want to see either of these guys lose. These guys are both undefeated, 9-0, 8-0 in the UFC. They put on entertaining fights. DDP keeps defying the odds. And then you have this unstoppable force coming through. I was bummed to see one of these guys lose because all that hype behind them, they just lost a lot of momentum. And DDP, man, I expect him to get back, but what if he loses again? Now he's out of championship reign. Now he's 3 fights away from fighting for a belt. And I've become such a fan of him over his last couple fights. Now you look at Khamzat. Khamzat loses. He has this unstoppable wrecking force behind him, but DDP exposes him. And now we lose all that momentum and all that hype. So
right.
To me, either of these guys losing is a loss for the fans.
See, I think the way that it went down, I somehow think DDP might actually get some fans from this. And I've heard other people saying this today. Here's the thing. What happened today is that, on Saturday, is DDP, he did actually stay true to what his reputation is. He was tough. He stayed in. He never gave up. You've told me, right, how guys sometimes in the UFC will kind of give their neck up when they're giving up and they'll like kind of let a submission happen. It kind of like, it's just one of those things. Like if you know, I can't tell that, but you could probably.
You're giving a way out. We call it we call it finding a way out. We find ourselves in a bad position, but it's like we almost justify it. I remember it happened to me when I was an amateur. I remember I'm getting my fucking ass beat. I get dropped. Guy takes my back. He's hitting me with elbows in the fucking head. And I'm just like, if I just look up right now, like he's going to grab my neck and this is all over. And I remember being like 18 years old, getting my ass beat by this, 35-year-old man. And I just closed my neck and took it, man. It happens, especially when it's such a dominant performance, being happened to you. And for him not to give up for the whole time is pretty incredible.
Yeah. And so Dricus never gave up, never gave in to the pressure. He was fighting till the very end. So I actually think Dricus kind of gets some props from this victory. It's just at the end of the day, the skill differential was too much. Their plan of holding him off and just kind of waiting until he tired out, it just didn't work because Khamzat didn't get tired. Whether it was because he was in a dominant position and had supreme balance and didn't get tired, or whether he built up his cardio with Sam Calavita, I don't know. Or maybe he never had cardio issues from the jump. That was also a possibility. Whatever it is, the one Achilles heel that they were banking on was not there. So I don't really think Dricus necessarily loses that much steam. He's still the same guy he was. He's still tough as nails, but he still has the unorthodox style, these maybe some perceived deficiencies. But Justin, one thing I want to ask you, and I see the comments coming up, guys, I'm going to read them in a second. One thing I wanted to ask you is one thing the Weasel said, and this is why he predicted Khamzat from the jump, is that he said that Dricus has not the best balance, not the best stance. He's always kind of on wobbly legs. He's tripped over himself before. He had a really hard time staying up against Derek Brunson and some of these other guys. And it looks like everything the Weasel said to me was absolutely correct. I mean, Khamzat was able to take him down at will. He had 12 successful takedowns out of 17, something insane like that. And every time he's taken him down within the first 30 seconds of the round, sometimes 10 seconds. Do you also agree that part of DDP's problem was that his stance is just too wobbly? It's too unstable.
I don't know about that. I just think that his blitzing forward technique is just not advantageous for a fighter like Khamzat, because Khamzat DDP wasn't able to hit that traditional blitz that he does because Khamzat was always low towards his legs, and regardless of and he didn't switch his stance very much either, because probably if you get caught switching mid stance, you're off balance. So I think he tried to fight from a different game plan instead of being able to blitz forward, instead of switching back and forth, being able to go forward because of the wrestling pressure. I think it did compromise his base a little bit. I think it did compromise his base because he's trying to fight a new style that he's not traditionally fighting.
Now, one also thing that the Weasel pointed out, which was super cool, is that Khamzat was actually doing some stance switching strategically to get DDP in the right position where he had the perfect ability to take a shot. I think he was saying he was faking the jab. I can't remember exactly what he was describing. And I kind of, it's hard to see the fight as in the same detail when you're there live versus in person, because when you're watching on TV, because of the closeness, you can really analyze it. But anyways, he was saying that Khamzat was doing a really good job with setting up the takedowns, which I also think was really, really cool to give Khamzat credit for that. Okay, I'm going to read a couple of comments here. And Justin, I know you're going to want to respond to some of these. MGal4 Production says, Justin, you're a really good wrestler yourself, so you should know how hard it is to hold down a bigger man, because I think he was probably 10 pounds bigger than him. And I'll jump in for Justin's defense right here. I think Justin would agree with you that it is crazy impressive. I don't think he's disagreeing with that at all.
I've used the word impressive at least 10 times so far today. I don't know what else you guys want me to say.
And then Jake Furman says, purist Joe Rogan who hates stand-up is all of a sudden a proponent of stand-up. I thought Joe Rogan was critical of I didn't hear the broadcast because I was there, like I said, but I did not know that. Okay. Khamzat, Luke Thomas was talking so much crap about Chimaev today. What? Dude, that's crazy because I heard Luke Thomas sing his praises. Okay, I will check that out. Thank you, Khamzat, for Khamzat Boris Chimaev for that. Jake Furman says, even DC was alluding to a ref. What? Okay, I am very confused. I did not know any of this. I thought Joe Rogan reprimanded the ref for the stand-up. Guru take on this whole fight was I couldn't watch Guru. And I'm a fan of MMA Guru, but he's got a relationship with DDP. He's been on his channel a bunch of times. He was wearing all the African gear. I mean, what do you expect? It's one of those. It's like when sometimes you like a fighter so much, it's gonna go that way. So it is what it is. I watched MMA Joey for this one because he was on our side, all us Khamzat fans. Matthew, why are you doing this to me, dog? Sorry, but that was a boring main event. He no doubt controlled him. Okay, so Justin, this guy, Matthew, agrees with you. He no doubt controlled him the whole fight, but for him saying he smashes everybody, all I saw was love taps. I mean, look, listen. I get it. Yes, that you're describing what happened, but it's like in that same way, you could kind of say that DDP made the fight boring by being so defensively sound, because he was moving out of the way, so Khamzat couldn't posture up and land elbows. Every time Khamzat would land a couple elbows, DDP would kind of squirm out of the way and move. So then he was forced to do those little pitter patter shots. So I mean, there's a combination. So, I mean, we would never say that it's DDP's fault. Khamzat was trying to execute a certain game plan to either land some heavy ground and pound like he does, or get the submission. So it's kind of like both ways. And I guess you're not necessarily blaming Khamzat, so maybe that's not your point, but this is why it went that way, because both sides were doing such a good job. Khamzat of being dominant and DDP of evading as best he could and not giving up. So, and anyways, I get it, but to me, that's what made it exciting, because I kind of knew what was going on, so I was just fascinated the entire time. Anyways, all right, let's read a couple more and then let's move on. Luke Thomas hates Chimaev for his forced friendship with the. Okay, I don't even want to get into all the politics. Sorry, we got a lot of comments today. Big Ankh Brunson until had DDP in trouble, went on the ground, nearly finishing him, so it shows DDP. Yeah, exactly. These are all points that we talked about leading into the fight. Oh, Lane's back in the mix. What's up, Lane? Welcome back. Good to see you. Khamzat expended very little energy. Okay game plan from him, but got another person agreeing with you, Justin. Lane, I don't know if you heard my rant, but I loved it. But I think I might be in the minority here. Lane, boring as F, didn't watch the 5th round. Weren't you curious? Like, DDP almost turned it around in the 5th round. I mean, not really, but they like, I was worried. And then Khamzat says Dricus was ducking his head into the body and trying to survive. He wasn't giving ways. Yeah, exactly. And if you listen to his coach, literally that sounds like that's all they did in camp, was put Dricus in bad positions and had him defend and then try and reverse. Obviously couldn't reverse here because Khamzat's too dominant, but he was just defending. I literally think their game plan was to defend until Khamzat got tired and then try and catch him. I mean, is that what you think what do you think they were doing?
Honestly, I have no clue. It didn't look like anything they did for their game plan worked. So I think it's back to the drawing board and really reevaluate where you're at.
Here's a sign of a absolutely dominant performance. You know what his coach said? He said, if they offered us the rematch right now, which obviously they're not going to, but he's like, if they did, we would turn it down because we have to go back to work. Think about how many decisions or how many fights or this and that where the fighter's like, I won that fight, and it's, okay, he couldn't have said that here, but man, no, I know I can get him. I know I can get him. I know I can get out of those things. If I want a rematch, I know I want to prove it. Most fighters say that. They're not saying that. They're saying if they got the rematch, they would turn it down. That's domination. That puts an exclamation mark on it, if ever. So to me, it's very fascinating. Very, very fascinating. I can't wait to see what's next for both guys, to be honest. So let's talk about that now, Justin. Hold on. Let me read a couple more comments, and then I want to talk about what we're going to think is going to be in store for these guys going forward. Wrestling is a part of MMA. 100%. I'm with you. So it's just, look, by the way, in case you're aiming that comment at Justin teaches the wrestling class at Extreme.
Collegiate wrestler, dude. Like, I've been wrestling for 25 years, man.
Jake Furman says Joe Rogan hated the first ref stand-up, but then, so he hated the first one and then called for okay, I got to rewatch that. But Big John McCarthy said one of the stand-ups was warranted, so maybe it's the one that Joe Rogan's talking about. I don't know. DDP's takedown defense was non-existent. Yeah, crazy. Well, not that it's non-existent. It's just against Khamzat. It's a different animal. The only fighter in UFC history to get backlash no matter what he does. Yeah, I know. The same fans that said we need to see Chimaev go 5 rounds in his early finishes are too predictable. Now crying about a 50-44. And Big Ankh says DDP coach also made excuses blaming everything on guys. Yeah, trust me, it's coming out in my video. Just be on the lookout. Around like 2:30, 2:40, my next video is going to drop where I go through all the different reactions from like the pundits and the fighters and all the stuff, and I go back and forth. So we're going to talk about all of that. All right, I've been talking a lot. Justin, let me turn it over to you. I'd love to know, what do you think makes sense for both Khamzat next and for DDP next? Take it away. And I can open it. Do you want me to open up the rankings for you?
Yeah, let's do that real quick.
Okay, hold on. So
I was thinking last night is I'd almost want to see Kamaru Usman get back in there with a full camp. I mean, I thought he put on a really good show, and I thought he did better than DDP.
For sure.
And I'd like to see him get a full camp. And I was thinking about that last night. I'm not sure if he's warranted right now. He probably isn't. But regardless, that'd be a really cool rematch, especially to see for 5 rounds.
Can I say one thing before you jump in? By the way, MMA Joey said this before the fight with DDP happened. He's been saying this all along, that as much as people have been crapping on the performance against Usman and saying Usman was 10 days notice and he's a welterweight, he's been saying, to his credit, this entire time that Usman was his toughest fight and will be his toughest fight even after DDP because of his wrestling. He's so underrated, and he was right on the money. Dude, Kamaru Usman is a beast. He still got it. Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Take it away.
No, that's probably how it is, man. And I've kind of been on the. I thought Kamaru was on his downslide, with all his knee injuries and stuff. And I've mentioned it before on the show, but he looks so incredible. And like you said, Khamzat came out and said in interview that he was his toughest opponent. So Kamaru Usman at one time was going to be considered one of the greatest, or he is considered one of the greatest welterweights of all time. Give him a fight, give him the rematch. I'm sure he wants it, and I'm sure he's probably already posted about it.
So, but is that, I know you'd like to see that, but it's probably not going to be next because we got a lot of guys.
Would you rather think of what I think is going to be next?
Yes. What do you think would make sense?
Oh, man. I mean, Sean Strickland's trying to talk himself into this matchup right now.
I would be down for that. Oh, no, wait. How long is he suspended for?
I think 6 months. Usually the first defense is 6 months.
Well, then that's not happening.
But he's going to be training the whole time. I see him in the gym still every day. So it's not like he's taking time off.
The thing is,
RDR is
that's what people are saying. People are saying RDR in October.
Yeah, RDR is, man. He's freaking stud. He's been beating the who's who now, and either of those matchups I'd be fine with.
The thing about RDR, why I think that makes sense, is because we have Imavov fighting Caio Borralho in September, and now here's the complication. Khamzat said he wants to fight in October on the Abu Dhabi card. The problem is that's the card where I believe is being headlined by Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane. I mean, they already have like a main event. So what? Like, Khamzat can't co-main event, and then is he going to bump him down to the co-main? Like, I don't know if that's going to work. So I know he said October, but realistically, he may not be able to get on a card until December or maybe even January, just because all these cards have been booked up. So if it was October, obviously Strickland will be out. But then because Imavov and Borralho are fighting in September, RDR would make sense. If they push it back to like December or January, then I probably see the winner of Imavov or Borralho go in there. Do you think either of these guys presents like a serious threat? When I say serious threat, I mean where the odds are somewhat closer. You think Khamzat has a pretty sizable advantage against both guys?
You think Borralho? You talking about Borralho and Imavov? Yeah, I think he has. I think he kills them both. Borralho is gonna. It's gonna be. He'll probably take him down and finish him. To be honest.
I agree. Hold on. We got a couple of comments. Hold on one second. RDR way more likable than DDP. I mean, I like DDP. I love RDR. RDR is the man, though. I love his interviews. He's awesome. Khamzat says Chimaev is fighting in 2 months in Abu Dhabi. So you do think that's for sure. But like, yo, Khamzat, what do you think about what I said? Where here, look, let me look at the Abu Dhabi card. 1 second. UFC, I think it's 321. Okay. So UFC 321 in October in Abu Dhabi, the main event right now is already set with Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane. So Khamzat, what do you think about that? I mean, how do you think that's going to work? Because how are they, what are they going to bump them, or you know what I mean? So that's why I know he said that, but I don't think it's feasible. RDR has been in Abu Dhabi before. It makes sense to bring him back. Look, hey, I love it. I want to see that fight, but I don't know. Matthew says, I don't see anybody in the top 5 beating him. I agree. Baiting LOL. We all know it was boring. Dude, but wait, Joshua, welcome to the show, by the way. I think you might be new. Okay, I'm not going to go rehash my whole argument, but the gist of why I said it wasn't boring is because this is not NFL. This is not NBA. This is where at any moment, at any time, DDP could have theoretically turned it around with an explosion back to the feet and then, a lucky punch or a spinning elbow or some crazy thing. So to me, to see that threat always there looming, and on top of that, to see if Khamzat had the cardio, and on top of that, to see if he could be as dominant as he was for 5 rounds, like to me, that's what made it enthralling and exciting the whole way through. Was it traditionally exciting? Okay, no, I'll give you that. But with all of those things in the mix, that's what made it so exciting to me. Lane says, Borralho going to flatline Imavov. Ooh, interesting take. I think it could be. I don't know. We'll see what happens. When is the last time Caio got a finish? I actually don't know. Leandro says, so entertaining that as the champ, I can't push off the guy I was talking crap to about for 5 months, all 5 rounds. Yeah. I mean, well, wait, are you being sarcastic? I don't know if I fully get that. These bait clickers are begging for the attention. LOL. Wait, Joshua, did you hear what I just said? Did I convince
what does bait clickers mean? I keep everyone say people were baiting or bait clickers.
And our thumbnail saying the fight was not boring. That's what I believe. It's not. We don't do clickbait here. We're doing the real deal. That's what I think. Justin thought it was
boring. I thought it was boring, but he doesn't think it's boring. And you have a good argument too. I can understand what you mean that, in football, if you're ahead 50-0, like there's no comeback, but DDP had that kind of little glimpse of guillotine choke at the end, hit him with a good right hand. But I can see your heart sink there. When you look at Anderson Silva versus Chael Sonnen,
right?
Chael Sonnen kills him in the last fourth round. I mean, things change, but I thought it was such a dominant fight. I thought there was no chance of that happening. But I could have said the same thing with Chael Sonnen and Anderson Silva.
I want to give Joshua another chance because he put in a comment, I think, after I talked to him directly. He says, bro, I watched, so he's a hardcore fan. Bro, I watched MMA my whole life, and I wrestled. Shout out to wrestlers. And I do like football in the NBA. Don't turn the sport into BS. I don't think I'm turning it into BS. I think the only reason why I'm saying this, I think the context matters. The stakes matter. All these other elements. Yes, if I saw that fight on the prelims and like these guys are coming up and we don't know too much about them and we don't know how good they are, of course, I would agree with you. But I'm saying contextually, if you think about everything at stake, all these narratives about Khamzat, things like that, that's my point. But I totally, I mean, we can agree to disagree, no worries, but just wanted to state my point. I'll give you one last thing. LL, you said what you said after I already wrote that, but I still can't let you tell me this was exciting. This was a letdown. Fair enough. And I get your perspective, and I think Justin is in agreement with you. So all totally fair. Anyways, I hope you like the show. I hope you don't think we're clickbaiting. Really, that's truly what I believe. I was there live. I watched it in Chicago, and I was literally on my feet the entire time. So I really did love it.
Uzeva's been avoiding my calls because I was going to call and argue with him.
No, I haven't been avoiding your calls, dude. I've been so busy flying in and out, getting terrible sleep. No. Do you think there's any middleweight right now who could beat Khamzat on stand-up without no, I don't. That doesn't mean that it can't happen. It's MMA. We never know. I think Magomed Ankalaev, if he moved up to light heavyweight, I think I would be really worried. Like, I actually think the odds makers would favor Ankalaev in that fight. So that would be a really interesting one. But I can't think of anybody in middleweight, really. Maybe Kaio could be interesting. RDR is a fascinating one because of his ground game and grapples, but I don't know.
I think RDR is the best go. Kyle Braulio is going to get taken down. I think he's more of a striker than a grappler, and I think he finishes him way faster than he finishes than he had an opportunity to finish DDP.
Hey, look, by the way, I got a comment from Joshua. He said, you don't got to clickbait me. I'm subscribed, but this title will bring hate. Hey, I didn't know you subscribed. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being a part of our show and our team. I really appreciate it. Okay, and if it brings hate, so be it. But it's the truth. It's really how I feel. Maybe it's not how Justin feels, but it's really how I feel. So it is what it is. And that's how we rock. We ride with the truth, with our true feelings. All right, we got to move on. I know there's tons of comments, and we're going to keep reading them as many as possible throughout the entire show. But we do want to move on to the next one. Oh, last thing. Who do you want to see DDP fight next? And I'll just say this. If Khamzat doesn't fight RDR, I want to see DDP fight RDR. I think that's cool. What do you think?
I would like to see Kyle Braulio.
Kyle Braulio would be cool too.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see Khamzat fight RDR and almost do like a 4-man tournament from there. Obviously, the champion of RDR and Khamzat fight, and then the winner of Kyle Braulio and DDP fight, and then the 2 losers fight.
We shall see. It's exciting times in the UFC. The era of Khamzat Chimaev begins. Let's go 10-7. By the way, just once again, our merch is live. It came out so good. The sweater's actually dope, and the printing came out really good too. So if you guys are interested, it's on the YouTube channel. You can click and buy and get a tank top, get a mug, whatever you guys want. All right, let's talk about this fight. Holy smokes. Now, I saw people in the comments already say that Aaron Pico got a really bad concussion. So I've been hearing people talk about it. So I'll tell you what happened. And I want to turn it over to Justin. He can kind of fill you in as a fighter who's been in there 79 times, fought for the UFC 5 times as well. So Justin knows his thing, trainer at Extreme Couture. So what they said is, so a couple of things. Number one, what I heard Pico being criticized for is the mistake of the way that he went. Like, he made a mistake to get KO'd like that from Murphy. He went in without any sort of jab to like set up the shot when he was moving to the side. So he was wide open and naked on that side, and he was moving into the elbow, which is the kiss of death. If you guys have ever sparred and you like move into a shot and you don't see it at all, like I'll get hit 25% at 25% power going into it and not seeing it, or even a leg kick, not seeing it and anticipating it, and it kills, right? So that's what he experienced, but like 10,000 times stronger. And an elbow, God forbid, like such a hard big bone. So he caught that and ate it completely. And that's why the knockout was so bad. What they said was when he went to the ground, his jaws were clenched, so they couldn't even get because of the extent of the concussion, his jaws shut and clenched shut, and they couldn't even pull the mouthpiece out. It took him a while to get him back awake and whatnot. So I do think the concussion sounds pretty bad. Justin, let me turn over to you. I don't know what you've heard about the concussion, but based on what I just told you, maybe what else you've heard, what do you think is going down for Aaron Pico right now?
Oh man, we all saw the clenching of the jaw, his mouthpiece getting stuck. You see the referee trying to get it out. Scary moment, but it's kind of what we signed up for. We know it all at any time. Something like that can happen. I'm bummed out for Aaron Pico. Everyone's talking, oh, he's exposed. I mean, he got knocked out, but I thought he looked incredible until that moment.
Too.
He was pushing a pace on him. Murphy actually looked like he was playing off his back foot. Like he didn't like the pressure. You looked at the total strikes that Pico threw. I think that 100% of them, there was like 35 or something, 100% of them were significant strikes. This guy was, slinging them and winging them. And I mean, what else more do you want? Unfortunately, like the video I made, sometimes you bob when you should weave and you run into shots like that, man. And, it's funny because when guys are coming in on you, typically if you're an orthodox to an orthodox, after you throw a combo, you're going to slip to the right. And that's kind of, I mean, we're all trained to do that. Unfortunately, he just, like I said, he bobbed when he should have weaved. He ran into the shot. Incredible read. Brian Murphy to come in and be able to throw that shot at the perfect time of slip because, the reaction, you have to be able to do that in the heat of the battle because, I mean, we're talking about point seconds here that you have to react. I mean, that's like a baseball batter hitting a fastball coming down. As soon as it leaves the pitcher's hand, you got to know what pitch is coming to hit that home run. And that's exactly what Rowan Murphy did here. I expect Aaron Pico to take probably 3 to 4 months off of contact. Probably stay in shape. You got to let your brain recover. I mean, the biggest problem he could do right now is be like, hey, I'm in shape. Like, it was a fluke. Like, let me jump back into training. Let's jump back into a fight camp because those knockouts will start compiling. I think Aaron Pico still has a bright future in the UFC. I think he's a fan favorite. He comes to fight. You're not going to back him up. He comes. I mean, he's a true fighter's fighter, man. This guy, whether he wins or loses, reminds me a lot of Justin Gaethje. He comes and he slings them. And, sometimes you're the hammer and sometimes you're the nail. And unfortunately, in trying to become the hammer, he became the nail in this fight.
I really liked what I saw from Aaron Pico. I thought he looked good until he got clipped, until he got caught. Justin, when you get a knockout like that and you hear what I told you about the jaws being clenched shut and they couldn't get the mouthpiece out, what does that mean about the severity of the concussion?
I mean, it means it's pretty severe. And, man, it's been a long time since I've been in college, but, correct me if I'm wrong. I think they're graded from level 1 to 3, 3 being the most, 1 being least significant. And it might be 4, but I'm pretty sure it's 3. And you get to a grade level 3 concussion, something like that, when your muscles stiffen up or your jaw clenches up, like that's severe, man. And I mean, you have a severe bruise on your brain now, and you need to let that brain recover. And I'm surprised. I won't be surprised if the UFC makes him get an MRI so they can make sure that, he can continue to fight healthily.
Yeah. And it is grade 3. They don't talk about seizing up, but they talk about seizures. I don't know if he had any seizures, but I wouldn't be.
It looked like that he was fucking clinching, and I think that's why they took the camera off him when his jaw was clenched. I thought I saw it twitching as well. Okay. And when that happens on TV, they typically take the camera off.
They take it off. Yeah, got it. Okay, so maybe it is a grade 3. Well, I am happy to hear that you think he still has a bright future. I mean, again, I'm the novice here. I'm just a fan. You're the fighter. I hope that he had a good, big future. I assume he still does with his acumen and his resume, and he still looked good until he didn't. So I can't wait to see Aaron Pico fight again. I hope he gets the time off that he needs and he comes back recovered. How good is Lerone Murphy?
I mean, he's undefeated. He's 17-0. Nobody's been able to figure him out. He just got with probably one of the biggest knockouts of his career, making UFC history, back-to-back spinning elbow knockouts. That's just insane. You'll be lucky to see one on those on a card, let alone 2 in a row in your co-main and your co-main. I mean, here's the thing. I don't want to call the spinning elbow lucky, but, man, I really thought Pico looked really, really good until he threw it. And, Lerone Murphy, I mean, he was fighting off his back foot. I mean, he landed the shot. But, I was watching it on my phone. I was at my son's football game, so I'm going to have to rewatch this fight. But if I were to judge the round up until then, I mean, at my latest thought or my latest memory is I thought Aaron Pico was winning the round, and I don't want to solidify that till I rewatch the fight on the big screen. But if he was winning the round, I mean, he might be showing the beginning of the blueprint to beat Lerone Murphy. He doesn't hit that big spinning elbow. What happens in the later rounds? And Lerone Murphy, obviously, he's beyond impressive. 17-0. What a great championship fight that would be. It's going to be a striker's delight. Two undefeated fighters fighting for featherweight gold. I think it's inevitable.
All right. I want to tell you something by the way, we got a ton of comments. I'm going to read them in a second. Right. I want to show you guys one funny, interesting thing real quick. If you guys don't know, I'm a big math guy. And not only did we get one spinning elbow finish, we had two spinning elbow finishes back to back. Okay. This is insane. Now, just to get a rough idea of what it would be like, we're going to use the calculator here to get a rough idea of what it would be like to get two spinning elbows back to back probability wise. So this would be something called independent probability, meaning the effect of the first fight has zero effect on the second fight. So how do we get the probability numbers? Okay. There have only been 10 spinning elbow finishes in the history of the UFC. Okay, I think that's what Ariel Helwani said earlier today. 9th was the one from Carlos Prates. 10th was the one from Lerone Murphy. So there has been 10 total out of roughly 9,000 fights. I asked ChatGPT how many total UFC fights. It said approximately 9,000. So that means if you just look at the raw numbers of finishing, and this isn't even if you finish, this is just the percentage of finishing when you have to get a spinning elbow of all the fights. It's 0.001. That's 0.01%. To get one and then the next one again, okay, you would take this number and you would square it. So this is the probability right here of getting two back-to-back spinning elbow finishes. Now, if I multiply this by 100, I'm going to turn this into the percentage. Here's the percent answer. It's a 0.0001% chance. What we witnessed, if you were there live or if you watched or whatever on TV, what you witnessed was such an improbable event of back-to-back spinning elbow finishes that it just blows the mind. And how cool do they look? I mean, I know they do a lot of damage. Both guys were knocked out really bad. We never want to see that, but that's bonkers, in my opinion. Okay, we're going to go to topic number 3, but before we do that, we got a ton of comments. Let me catch up on the comments. So it says, Tehran, back end, Pico was doing very good until that KO. Darts may be new here. Welcome, Darts. Pico's just another Bellator bum. I mean, dude, I'm not with that type of sentiment. I think Pico has such good accolades. You got to give him credit, man.
I think he's going to do really well in the UFC, to be honest.
And I mean, look at all his accolades and credentials, and let's see what happens. I think he's going to recover. He's going to rest. I think he's going to be back. He's going to be awesome. Matthew says Chimaev with all those love taps is what made it boring. Okay, we're still talking about that. And then it says, Leandra says he got KO'd by Lerone. That is true. Hey, look who's back. Dr. Peener in the house. Gentlemen, good afternoon. What a card. Prates looked like a monster. Yes, dude. It was amazing. I loved it. Loved all of it, including the main event. Then we got so many comments. Pico has some brutal body shots from hell. Oh, my God. Yes, he does. Dude, he swing. He looks hard. He's so shredded. He's like a specimen. He looks like he was built in a lab, like he'd be an X-Man or something. Another fighter that struggled in his first UFC fight. There's something to that. I mean, I hate to – that's such a broad brush to paint this with. All three of those guys were very different. Yeah, they're from – what about MVP? He's a Bellator fighter. He's done well. I mean, I just think there's so many other variables in that equation that simply, hey, it's Bellator moving to the UFC. I just don't think that's a fair comparison. On top of that, dude, they put him up in his first UFC fight against a 16-0 guy. That's crazy, man.
Future contender, his next fight might be for the championship.
It will be probably.
Yeah. And you look at Patchy Mix. Dude, it was a short notice fight, man. It doesn't he had a bad weight cut. I mean, he had a 3-day notice. I think it was a 3-day notice fight, or it was less than a week notice. That's really tough. He's not fighting on the undercard. I mean, he's coming in right away fighting champion, or not, I wouldn't say champions, but top level contenders on short notice. I mean, give the guys a break. The UFC isn't doing these Bellator guys any favors.
Wait, Joshua said Nixick called it. That's Justin's coach, by the way, and longtime friend. I didn't know. What did he call it, Joshua? Can you tell us? You're saying he called the knockout, but if you could fill us in, we'll post the comment again. Pico is good. He just doesn't have a chin. It's been like that since Bellator. Yeah, I heard he has been knocked out a couple times, and Well, I don't know.
It'll be exciting fights no matter what. That's the whole point.
And by the way, dude, nobody can withstand the shot that Aaron Pico took. Not a single person. Nobody.
No,
you can't be moving into a spinning elbow. It's impossible. That's probably one of the hardest shots, other than like taking a spinning roundhouse wheel kick or something while you're moving into it. That could be the only other thing that's worse. But like, dude, a spinning elbow.
It happened to me. Remember?
Yeah, but you got hit hard. But were you moving into the shot too?
No, I thought he was throwing a spinning back kick to the body, so my hands dropped to my body.
Yeah. So you had no guard up and you got blindsided, which is terrible. This is one step worse, where he not only got blindsided, he's moving into it like pretty fast. Dude, nobody's gonna withstand that. Joshua says MVP is the only belly. Oh, Bellator guy that came over and did something. What did I mean, Mike? What about what's his name? Michael Chandler. His first fight, he had a crazy knockout. He's done. He had the skid since Eddie Alvarez. Yeah, dude. We've had some guys. Ben Askren in his original fights before he got kneed was doing good. So Barat, welcome back, Barat. He says, don't think there's grades for concussion. Yeah, there. Oh, not anymore. Well, I just Googled it and it said there was, but maybe it's old information. Sorry, we've got so many things. I'm really trying to read through these, but also keep the show moving. Murphy obviously must be the real deal. Yeah, I mean, definitely, absolutely. Toronto says Pico should probably come back in April or May of next year. Yeah, that could be the play. Volk is going to retire champion. I think so. What a legend Volk is. I think Volk beats Valero Murphy or Evloev, whoever he faces next. And then I think he's going to maybe take one more fight. He win. He's going to bounce. Volk is a G. Okay. Pico and JDM, best body punchers in MMA. JDM boxing is so scary. Okay. Come a couple more here. Lane, 2 in a row was insane. Yeah. I mean, I just showed you the probability. It's literally insane. It makes no sense. Leandro, maybe if DDP kisses Kadyrov, he could become... Dude, what are you talking about? Why do you have to bring Kadyrov into this? Leandro, Patchy Mix looked horrible, stood there like a young oak tree. MGAL4 Production says John Jones made the spinning elbow. Oh, Joshua responded. Nixick called the Murphy knockout. He said when Pico throws to the body, he leaves. Oh my God, Nixick called that? That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, yo, props to Nixick for picking up on that. Western says MVP. All right. Moving on to Carlos Prates. I picked Neal. I picked Jeff Neal. Did you pick Jeff Neal too?
I don't think so. I think I picked Prates. Oh yeah, because I think it's better for the UFC. That's right. I took the UFC narrative.
Well, once the fight, the guy behind me we were talking about it. He bet on Prates. He bet on a lot of fights. He actually bet on Khamzat by submission. So he was bummed the way that it ended. But I told him, I was like, I just had I don't know. I was just feeling Neal. But guys, don't listen to me on my picks unless it's like certain fights. I don't know I'm just having fun. You know what I mean? But I was just feeling like the vet was going to get it. Jeff Neal is tough. Ian Gary talks so much about Jeff Neal's power. I don't know. I just had a feeling. But as soon as the fight started, I found myself rooting for Carlos Prates. And like, he just looks so much looser in there. He's got a much bigger reach. Like, dude, Prates is so fun to watch. Like I thought he looked incredible, and I was rooting for him. And when he got that spinning elbow, I mean, I was kind of shocked because I don't think he's had a single other. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he has. That was the 10th one in the UFC. I don't think he's had another single crazy spinning elbow like that. But I was very impressed. Justin, what's your takeaways from this fight and Prates' performance?
Man, anybody see the presser when he's smoking a cigarette?
I heard about it. I didn't see it, but I heard about it.
Yeah, what a stud, man! Fun guy to watch. Coming up with the Fighting Nerds, I thought Jeff Neal, again, almost just like Aaron Pico, looked really good, putting it on him. But, you look good until you don't. Once you get hit with that spinning elbow, good night, Irene.
Carlos Prates, I think, is going to skyrocket too in the rankings. People already love him. The cigarette at the presser was dope. The way he got the finish, he got the performance or the performance bonus of 50 G's. Like, dude, the UFC is so exciting right now. It's so ridiculous. We got all these people in the mix that are exciting fighters. Khamzat Chimaev atop the throne at the middleweight division. We got all these awesome title fights. Like, we got the Paramount deal. It's just such a good time to be a fan of the UFC. We got a couple more comments here. Tehran says MVP called out Carlos for the October. He called up. He wants to go back down to welterweight. He wants I like MVP in the middleweight division. I think middleweight division, I don't know, man. I think his speed stands out a little bit more at middleweight. I don't know. That's my 2 cents. MGAL4 Production says he effed up Jeff Neal. Matthew says Prates with the walk-off KO with 3 seconds left. He knew it was over. Tehran says he accepted it. What? Okay, I need to see this. I did not hear this. Oh, by the way, MGAL4 Productions also says Nick Sick knows MMA, and he says, man, I wish James was still in the UFC, much like Pico. Exciting fighter, win or lose.
Thank you.
And Lane says Prates on UFC Rio card. Oh yeah, he wants to be on the Rio card. I bet he will get on it with that finish. I just wonder who they're gonna match him up against. Smoking those hundreds on Paramount. Let's go. Oh, I can't wait till the Paramount deal is in effect. The UFC and MMA is going to blow up. All right, we got to keep a move on here. We're already 50 minutes into the show. Next, talking about MVP versus Carlos Prates. Let's talk about MVP versus Jared Cannonier winning those first 2 rounds. Now, I will admit, I had to go to the bathroom, and I missed the first round or the first half of round 1. So I didn't get to see MVP's great performance in round 1. I got to see round 2 and round 3, and I saw what's it called? Jared Cannonier do what we were afraid of, hold him up against the fence and use his weight and stuff like that. And MVP was pretty powerless, but like, I don't know, man. MVP is so interesting to me. I did not think he was going to have this much success in the UFC. Beating Jared Cannonier to me is a huge deal, Justin, especially since he normally likes to fight at welterweight. Like, what's your takeaway about MVP?
Yeah, man. Just like you mentioned, the speed differential was definitely noticeable. His right hand was, Jared Cannonier couldn't put up. He put that 3-punch combo together. If you remember, I don't remember if it was the first or second round. It was like a cross hook, cross, just bop, 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 and then he's just out of range. Took a Jared Cannonier, dropped him. I don't know if it was a slip or a drop. I'm sure it was labeled a knockdown, though. And he just looked improved from his Ian Gary fight. His wrestling defense looked improved. Jared Cannonier struggled taking him down in the first and second round. I still think he needs to work on it because once he was down in the third round, you can see Cannonier putting his weight on him and kind of dominating the position. So MVP still has work to do, but he's definitely improved since his Ian Gary fight.
Here's a crazy fight that I just thought of. Obviously, it's not going to happen anytime soon. What the heck you think would happen if Khamzat fought MVP? What a weird style matchup that would be.
Oh, I don't. Khamzat fight MVP? No.
Did you just think he'd smash him?
Oh, I think he'd probably finish him in the first round or the second round. I mean, Jared Cannonier isn't half the grappler Khamzat is, and once he got MVP down, like he was able to hold him down. Getting him down in the first, second round was tough. But Ian Gary, you're going to say, Khamzat's wrestling is going to be better than Ian Gary's. Ian Gary took him down, dominated him in grappling. I can't imagine. I think Khamzat would probably get the finish. I mean, that being said, though, it's an interesting matchup because MVP is a defensive fighter, and the way he stays at range with his hands down, that Khamzat would have to dart. Khamzat darts in from across the cage. MVP has some really slick knees. I'm not saying he'd be able to land one. But it'd be interesting to see him try.
I'd just be curious to see it try. I'm not saying he has I'm not by any means, and I'm not saying MVP has the best chance against Khamzat. I just find it interesting, and maybe he could land that. You're right. I mean, if Khamzat gets a hold of him, it's literally over in the first round. No doubt about it. He had such a hard time with Ian Gary. He had a hard time against Jared Cannonier on the ground. So, yeah. MVP deserves a number 1 contender spot at 185. Look, I'm all for it. I love MVP. He's super exciting. And I'm with Western. I want MVP to stay at middleweight. So that's 100%. I'm in agreement. Huzaifa and James turning into my favorite UFC duo in the content world. Let's go, Chad Bees. Welcome. And we really appreciate all your support and all your commentary. And I mean, you guys know, I read every single comment and respond to pretty much almost every single comment. I mean, within reason, right? Like, so I try to check out who is commenting and who is talking and saying what and give my 2 cents back. Justin too as well. So we really appreciate it, Chad. Thank you so much. And we're having so much fun. We love the sport. So it means the world to us when you say that. Venom would knock JDM out. Whew. That's fascinating. That is a bold statement. Khamzat was just get his yeah. I mean, Tehran, look, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm still just curious though to see how it goes down. But yeah, you're probably right. Justin's probably right. But yeah. Matt said, okay, everybody's I think mad at that suggestion. MVP does not need to fight Chimaev. MVP's grappling defense was really good. Oh, that's an interesting take. Are you being sarcastic?
I thought on the feet the first and second round it was.
Oh, okay, fair enough. First, second round. Okay, I got you. And then, Venom style is so wild. Venom's distance control is the best. He's hitting you from the next block. It's so cool to watch. That's why the sport is crazy. It's like you go to an MMA gym And like striking, you learn primarily Muay Thai, maybe a little bit of kickboxing. Wrestling, you learn kind of traditional folk style wrestling. You kind of have all the, and then you have these weird people that come in and are karate point fighters and somehow find success in the game. You have RDR coming in with this crazy style and like judo trips and different things. And somehow that works. DDP's crazy style. Like, it's so interesting how you have the majority of people thinking like this is the optimal way. And then every now and then you have a freak athlete that comes in and shows a totally different way to do it. Like, that's so cool to me. Like, you don't see that in basketball. Like a guy like dancing or something and I don't know, like doing some crazy stuff that's totally unorthodox and it working. It's just different occasionally, but not like MMA. MMA is the best. Oh, look at this. Lane is talking to you, Justin. It's Lions here.
We're going, baby. We're going. I mean, the preseason's not looking great, but they're just battling for the number 2 spot for quarterback. I think the Lions are going to do really well. I think they're going to win the NFC, and I think they're going to win NFC North pretty handily, and probably win the NFC as well.
Okay, now I'm from Detroit too. I'm pure MMA fan. I just love MMA, and that's it. Moving on to your boy. I can't believe it. But now in retrospect, I feel kind of dumb for not thinking that Tim Elliott had such a good chance because Kaya Sakura didn't really have much for him on the ground. But Justin, take it away. This is your boy. You've trained with him a ton.
Tim, man, me and Tim go way back. He was at the gym. We used to train together at the gym. We were kind of buddies back in the gym. Incredible fighter. Guy has just an unrelentless pace. His pace, just even when we're showing technique at the gym, he's usually like jogging around the group in a circle. He's shadow boxing the whole time. It actually irritated some coaches. Robert Fallis would always yell at him to pay attention because he's so ADD, man. He's so high strung. He's just a ball of energy, and he's just so unorthodox, and he's such a skilled fighter. If you guys remember, he won the Ultimate Fighter. It was like a tournament style Ultimate Fighter. The winner of the Ultimate Fighter got to fight Demetrius Johnson. He went to 5-round decision with Demetrius Johnson, and there were parts of the fight that he was winning. Tim is just an incredible person. He's an incredible fighter, and man, I'm not surprised that he was able to catch that guillotine. His guillotine game is on point, especially for the flyweight division, one of the best I've ever seen.
We got a couple comments, and then I want to ask you about Kaya Sakura because a lot of people are saying he just needs to take time off and work on his grappling and his ground game. But we got Wolf Fuel back in the mix. In hindsight, Dricus' confidence was delusional. I hate to say it, but I kind of agree with you. I think they had a very specific game plan that literally hinged on Khamzat tiring out. It's not the deepest game plan. I mean, I could look, hey, this is just my outside perspective, and this is what a lot of other people are saying. So I take it for what it's worth. It could very well be off the mark, but yeah, that's what I kind of think happened. Teron says, Justin, being from Detroit, do you like the Pistons?
Not a big basketball fan. I just, watching LeBron fall down and flop all the time and all these players take that role. I don't like that, man. I like a little aggressive, be a fucking man, stand up, take a hit and keep moving forward. It's basketball, and no offense to guys that like basketball. It's just a little soft for me.
NFL is cool to Huzaifa. Yeah, I mean, it might be cool, but let me ask you a question. Who wins in a fight, Tom Aspinall or any football player in the NBA ever? Tom Aspinall, baby. Settled. Done.
It's not even a question. I mean, you look at defensive tackle made his way over to the UFC. I can't think if I trained at 275 pounds, Greg Hardy. And I mean, this guy, 275 pounds, running a 4.5 40. He's the fastest, strongest, most athletic guy I've ever met in my life, or at least definitely one of them. He got into the UFC and he was cleaned out, went to BKFC, cleaned out, just because good athletes don't always translate to good fighters. And like I said, he was a superior fighter to me, but I tuned him up when it came to wrestling.
I mean, and here's the thing. Look, I mean, I'm obviously kind of joking, right? It's a different sport, but to me, that's why I love this sport so much, because it's the ultimate competition. Every competitive thing, not to be sexist, but like kind of as a guy, right, is no matter how it goes, the common denominator is, okay, fine, you beat me there, but let's go outside. I'll kick your butt. Let's go. Let's square up, right? That's the common denominator. And once the fight is over, there's nothing left to say. So to me, that's why MMA is the most exciting sport. It's the ultimate competition. There's nothing to be said or to do after that. In football, it doesn't go your way. You square up, and sometimes guys fight or they get angry or whatever, and fine, but I'll beat you up. There's nothing to say. You already got beat up. You can't come back and be like, yeah, but what, you're going to say I'll beat you in a race? Like, that doesn't even make sense. So to me, that's why I love the sport so much. The finality of it, the the amount of nerves and emotions that you have to overcome to even get in there and put your life on the line, the trials and tribulations you have to go through in the training camp, the injuries you have to deal with, the fact that it's all or nothing. If you don't show up, you don't get anything. There's no, you know what I mean? Like, all these different factors, I think, are what make it such a crazy and wild sport. Matthew says Brock Lesnar played for the Vikings for a few. Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Cut.
Joshua Slezak said Khamzat said he will go to 170 again. I mean, he said that, and I know Coach Calavita thinks he can do it. I believe it? I don't know. I just don't want to see him cut so much weight. So he says, but if Islam is there, who gets the fight, Ilya or Hum? I think I think there would be more buzz to see Khamzat go. Dude, Khamzat's too big, man. He's gonna mess up Islam and Ilya. I don't even know if I would want that for Khamzat's legacy, but I like Islam. I like Ilya. I kind of feel like Khamzat should just stay at 185, maybe move up to light heavyweight. Maybe as he gets older, move up to heavyweight. We don't know how big he's going to get. I don't know. Let's see what happens. But it's a good question, Joshua. I don't know the answer, but fair play. All right, let's move on to our last topic of the day. Fun topic. Oh, no, wait. Before we go on, last thing. So what do you think for Kai Asakura? Does he need to go back, train, take some time out of the UFC for a bit?
I think that he starts off, he's 0-2 in the UFC, man. I mean, he's one fight away from getting cut, especially after getting finished. So, I mean, he was this exciting prospect coming over. I mean, he has to go back to the drawing board. I mean, like I said, he might only have 1 or 2 more shots if he doesn't start putting something together.
Okay, we're on our final topic now. And you guys might be like, what is this? Why are you talking about this? This barely got any headlines, okay? But I saw it in a video. I'm pulling it up right now. And I think this is actually a massive deal, like a super massive deal. And I'm going to explain why in a second. Let me first play you the clip. This is from Nina Drama sitting with Alex. Check this out. Did you see this, Justin, or no?
Is this when he starts playing with her feet?
I don't know if he plays with her feet, but watch this. Watch this.
Yeah, you study English. Yeah, you know, you're doing really good.
Every day study. I learning 3 words for day.
Yeah, you did so good.
Yeah. I practice. I remember. Yeah. Okay.
No, that's good. No,
I think that's the end of the clip. Now, wait, is there more?
that's really good.
He like sticks her foot up and he like grabs it. And it's
Yeah,
it might not be this video, but there's another one like that.
Okay, now, I guess it's not this video, but let me explain something to you guys before we go. You understand how big this is because, first of all, if he wins, regardless, it's going to be massive. If he beats Ankh in the rematch, it's going to be insanity. Okay, but there's something for, I think, most fans, even they don't even have to be as like into the sport as me. But a lot of people, we want to get to know the fighters. We want to know the personalities. We want to know the struggles. We want to know the interactions. Yes, we listen through a translator, but we're not really hearing Alex Pereira because we don't get to hear the inflection, the emotion. We don't get to hear a sense of humor when he speaks another language and it's translated. All of that is lost. When he now learns to speak English, and if he can get pretty decent by the time of the press conference, it's going to be for the English speaking community like we're meeting him for the first time. We're finally going to get to see his real personality. Like, look at somebody like what's it called? Paulo Costa, Secret Juice. As he started to learn English, and even though it's still kind of broken and but you can still hear a sense of humor now. You understand the guy that he is. Like, it makes him so much more likable and enjoyable to watch. And I've heard that Alex Pereira has like a great sense of humor. He's a jokester. This, if he comes back with English in his back pocket, wins and beats Ankalaev, which I don't know if he's going to do. My head says, oh, it's going to be a tough fight. But if he can do it, and he speaks to the crowd in English for the first time, people are going to go mental. People will go mental. So I think this is huge, not only for Alex Pereira, but for the UFC, because once again, and I made this argument in a video that I made on Saturday, people say the UFC doesn't want to make stars anymore. I wholeheartedly disagree. I don't care what the objective is of the brand, maybe to limit the powers of the fighters. I could see that, or limit where they go afterwards. Like, they don't want Conor fighting in BKFC just yet, right? He's got too much star power. Fine. But to say that the UFC doesn't want to make stars anymore is nonsensical, because the sport, no matter what, is about the people. It's not about the business. It's not about the company. If I don't get invested in the people and the personal stories, this sport is not even close to being the same. I don't just want to see 2 random people go in there and bang it out. I don't want to see that. I want to see the entire build-up, the drama, the story, the personality. So they are in the business of making stars. And if you think otherwise, you just don't understand what draws people to the sport. Number one, now we have an opportunity for Alex Pereira to show his personality and become another huge, even bigger star, and a rising tide raises all ships. So I'm super excited. Justin, let me turn it over to you for the final word on this. Do you think I'm overblowing it, or do you think there's something to what I'm saying?
No, there's definitely something to what you're saying. Is, that's why he didn't grow on me right away, just because of the just not being able to understand him. But now you see him; he's been in more Instagram videos, more reels, kind of displaying his personality. When Sean Strickland and him were becoming buddies, Sean was sharing him, so we got to see like that side, but still without English. Now to see that side with English, I agree with you wholeheartedly. Yeah, you get that connection through the fighter, and you get excited. His trials and tribulations are different than all the other, guys. And you get to hear his story coming from him instead of a translator. And I think it's incredible.
Here's a perfect scenario. Khamzat goes in, takes a fight in whether it's October in Abu Dhabi or November, or December, whenever it might be, right? He gets a fight. He gets a win. Alex Pereira goes out, beats Big Ankh, and we have a super fight. Khamzat versus Alex Pereira for the lightweight. Holy smokes. That is insane. And on that note, we're going to close out the show. Let's just hope, let's just dream, let's just pray as UFC fans to the MMA gods that we get something as spectacular as that, because that truly would be spectacular. Even if it ends early, even if Pereira is outmatched in the grappling, but what an exciting matchup just to see the best striker potentially in the history of the UFC go against potentially the best grappler in the history of the UFC and see what goes down. Wild stuff. Let's see what happens. Anyways, we got a bunch of comments. Hold on. Let me just make sure we read through the rest of these before we close it out. Chimaev versus Islam would be a good fight. I get it. I just don't want to see it because I'm such a big fan of both, but I get it. Lane says, hate to tell you, but Alex does not speak. Hey, he's learning. He's coming along. What do you mean? You just saw it. Jailton Almeida's Khamzat's nightmare matchup. He can match him on the ground and can KO him on the feet. All right, interesting. Well, maybe Khamzat will move up to heavyweight and face him. That'll be interesting. Jailton. Now, Jailton, you want to talk about boring fighters. That's Jailton Almeida. Come on now. We've got Lane says, she is so utterly cringe. I'll just say this. I don't want to be too negative on other creators. She's doing her thing. It's not my cup of tea, but there's probably a lot of people out there that love her content, and she brings eyes. She's got 1 million followers. Like, it is what it is. Hey, John Dong is back in the mix. What's up, John Dong? If Khamzat fights again in October, do you think they'll give him someone who doesn't deserve the title shot? Because Fluffy and RDR are going to want more. You think they're going to want more time? They would not go beyond RDR or Fluffy. No way. That Fluffy Hernandez would be the lowest they would go in terms of the ranking. Well, let's see where he's ranked. I don't even know where he's ranked right now, but RDR or Fluffy would be the lowest. There's no way they give it to somebody else, I think. But that's my 2 cents. Lane says, Alex does not have the ear to learn English. Maybe he does. Why are we hating on this? Come on now. We got to hope. Let's be optimists. John Dong says, sup. Dude, he would ragdoll. He might, but still, it's a super fight. They're both 2 huge stars. All right. That's it. Fluffy's number 7. Matthew says, okay, that's it, guys. Great show today. Thank you for all the engagement. Thank you for the subs. Thank you for everything. Thank you for the kind words. We really appreciate it. And if you guys do want to join our membership, we have training videos from Justin Guitar Hero, James from Extreme Couture. If you do want to learn to fight and defend yourself, it is a blast. I, of course, just trained the striking. Justin does it all as a former fighter in the UFC and all that good stuff. And he trains with the best of the best, and he trains the best of the best. So you definitely want to check that out. We got a really good deal on membership. And I'll once again mention the merch that we have live on the show if you want to check that out. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll see you in the next episode. Khamzat Chimaev is champ. Here we go. See you next time. Take it easy.